Welcome to The Stacks, a podcast about books and the people who read them. I'm your host, Tracy Thomas, and today we welcome Mina Kimes to The Stacks. I'm so excited. I'm a huge fan of Mina. She is a sports journalist. You might know her from the show NFL Live on ESPN. You also might know her voice from the Mina Kimes show featuring Lenny, her dog. Mina is very much the person to go to for all things sports. Today, we talk about her career, how she thinks of her place in sports media, and of course, her favorite books. Remember, Mina will be back on February 22nd to discuss The Roundhouse by Louise Erdrich for the Stacks Book Club. Quick reminder, everything we talk about on each episode of the show can be found in the link in the show notes. And if you love the show and you want more of it, please go to patreon.com/thestacks and join the Stacks Pack. I could not make the show without the support of the Stacks Pack. And for just $5 a month, you get bonus episodes, our virtual book club, access to our Discord, which is very much the place to be if you love books. Plus, you get to know that your contribution makes it possible for this podcast to exist every single week. To join, head to patreon.com/thestacks. I also want to say a quick thank you to some of our newest members of the Stacks Pack: Elizabeth Loretto, Emma Veach, Rebecca Stummy, Heather Heinz, Ma, Grace Tenkoff, Andrew, and Madison Donatoni. Thank you all so much, and thank you to the entire Stacks Pack. All right, it is now time for my conversation with Mina Kimes. All right, everybody, I am so excited today. I'm here with one of maybe my most favorite person in sports, Mina Kimes. She is a podcaster. She is a TV personality. She's a writer. She's a Seahawks fan, which we can talk about later because that's a problem. But otherwise, mostly I'm on board with Mina. So Mina, welcome to the Stacks.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited. I just said you were my favorite person in sports, and I know David Dennis is going to listen and be mad. So it's a tie. And Justin Tinsley. It's a three-way tie for favorite people in sports.
Those guys are so great. Justin's probably the most likable person at ESPN.
On the face of the earth.
And maybe the earth. Yeah. He's just such a peach. And they're obviously wonderful writers. So when they connected me with you, I was so excited.
Yes, we're big fans of them here. So if you would, will you just tell folks a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So my job right now is that I'm an NFL analyst at ESPN, but my career has taken a lot of pretty interesting turns before that. After graduating from college, I worked as a business journalist for 6 years. I worked at Fortune magazine, where at first I wrote about investing, and then I pivoted a couple years into that to being an investigative reporter there, writing basically about companies doing bad things is how I would summarize it. Then I moved to Bloomberg News and joined their investigative team. And then in 2014, ESPN contacted me about a job at ESPN the magazine, which doesn't exist anymore, as a features writer, writing about sports, which is not something I ever aspired to do or thought I could do. I was a huge sports fan, but that was not something I dreamed of. So I joined ESPN as a writer and worked as a writer for a few years, profiling athletes, got to travel around the world, cover the Olympics, go to Korea a couple times for stories, which is kind of a boondoggle for me because I am Korean. So I got to use those trips to see family. And then around 2015, 16, I started doing sports radio and podcasting. And then from there, and this is how a lot of writers at ESPN transitioned to becoming television personalities, I started doing shows like Around the Horn, Highly Questionable, First Take, and helped launch a podcast called ESPN Daily. And then I think around 2020, transitioned to being full-time on television as an NFL analyst, which brings me to what I said I did at the beginning. So yeah. So my job now basically is to talk about football and give opinions about football. And it means watching a lot of football.
Okay. When you got the email from, or the reach out from ESPN that was like, hey, do you want to write about sports? Were you like, yes, 1,000%, I'm all in? Or were you like, I don't do that?
It was shocking because it was not something that had ever occurred to me. I mean, it occurred to them because I had written a personal essay about how much I love football. And also because my social media was just dumb football memes and sports opinions. Yeah. So they were like, you seem obsessed with this. What do you want to do? But I really, truly had never thought I never, even as a child, thought it was something that I could write about, much less give opinions about. Let me tell you that. But at the time I'd been working as a business journalist for a while and being an investigative journalist is very tiring. It's a lot of getting yelled at by lawyers. And, just I went home and I thought, man, I could write about something I love for a living. It was scary because I had kind of built up this whatever. I'd been covering business for a while and I didn't know the first thing about covering sports, but I kind of thought, well, if I don't take this opportunity, probably never going to get it again.
Is it at all similar, covering business and sports?
So I would say the fundamentals were the same, especially as a features writer, reporting, gathering information, gathering data. It was a kind of a through line for me between things, and then structuring features, very similar, right? But all of the little things you take for granted, like I knew how to read 10Ks and get through to companies and find employees and stuff. Whereas covering sports, especially professional athletes, it's like, how do you work with agents? How do you get into a locker room? Like, you don't know, right? And then you feel dumb asking, like, how do I get a credential? So I had to learn like a lot of the little things on the fly, but the underlying tools were basically the same.
And nobody tells you that. It's like on your onboarding day, HR is not like, okay, this is how you get a credential. You just have to just like figure it out.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, or ask people, which is embarrassing. Okay? I mean, at that, especially if you're not just starting out your career at times. And then, so that was writing about it. And then talking about it was obviously a totally different process and something I had to learn how to do on the fly.
So Jamel Hill came on the show last year. In case you didn't know, I'm a big sports fan. So any opportunity to have a sports person on the show, I'm like, you wrote a book? Come on in. So, but in Jamel's book, she talks about how, because she was also a sports journalist writing about things before she ever got on TV. And when she first went on TV, she talked about how like she didn't know how to dress. She didn't know how to like be feminine, and like that was something that was really hard for her. And she hired her friend to help her. And it was this whole other thing because all of a sudden she was being judged on her looks when she was used to being judged on just her work and her ability to tell a story. Did you run up against any of that?
There was a little bit of it as far as the look stuff. I didn't really wear makeup before I started going on TV. And the makeup artist at ESPN always laughed because I would call foundation skin makeup because I just didn't. I was like, where's the skin makeup, So there was definitely some missteps early on. Like, I let like way too many smoky eyes and I have small eyes. But for the most part, the things I had to learn that I didn't know how to do were performance related, performance meaning performing on camera. I didn't act. I didn't do comedy or improv. Didn't do radio growing up. So just like learning how to communicate in a concise and hopefully entertaining fashion, it's a craft, some people are born with the gift of gab, I guess, and it comes easier to some people than others. But for me, it was a lot of watching other people, paying attention to how ideas were structured and, trying to gain the confidence to do it myself.
Who were you looking to? Who were the people on sports television that you were like, okay, I like what you bring?
Well, shoot, I always love watching Jamel because she was just she is so clearly herself, but she also, and I think this is what I feel is what makes her so good on television. She's so warm and human. And I've always loved that quality when I watch people, on television, the ones who appear to be enjoying themselves and like the things they're talking about and also have empathy for the people in their orbit. But for me, a lot of it also was watching football analysts in particular because, especially when I transitioned to becoming a full-time NFL analyst, understanding, okay, these are the things we have to talk about. These are the things we have to hit. Right. How do I communicate? Football's really complicated. How do you communicate complicated things in a digestible fashion was something that I had to learn along the way.
So what I like about you is your confidence. I think obviously you're like one of the smartest people doing what you do, not just in football, but just like whenever I hear you on like a Ringer podcast, you always have a take. You always have like such a good sense of what's going on, even if it's like a movie or whatever. The Bachelor, big Juliette Littman fan here. So, I love when she has you on. But I wonder if when because people shit on you all the time. They're like, you've never played,
No, the number one thing so first of all, no one has ever shit on me to my face, ever. Well, it's literally never happened. And
it's on Twitter only.
Obviously, right? But I just want to like let people know, for someone who does invoke a lot of anger in the commentary it's never happened in real life. The thing that it's mostly guys, but women, people say to me in real life, especially athletes say this to me all the time. They're like, you know what, Mina Kimes, people shit on you, but they're wrong.
It's true.
Wait, that's my reputation for being shit on.
It is because I feel like the reason it's your reputation is because you clap back in the best ways
sometimes.
So like I feel like that's always good, but I also think it's because the people who watch you and know you and like you, like I genuinely feel upset when someone tries to shit on you. Like so I feel like I take it on. Like I'm like, I'm Mina Hive, like how dare they? In a way that like other people, I'm like, well, I could see that criticism. But for you, I'm like, no, but she's smarter than everyone else talking, so I don't know why you're saying that. But my question is like, how do you like keep going in the face of so much, like so many people belittling you? And, you know, I think we can call a spade a spade. It's because you're a woman. It's because you're Asian. Like they don't shit on dudes who don't play football, who talk about football as nearly as much as they shit on you. So I'm wondering, like, how do you have like a pregame thing that you do or something that like a mantra, or is it just like, you know, you're the shit and fuck you?
No, it's definitely not that. I mean, for much of my career, it really bothered me. And I'd be lying if I said it didn't still bother me sometimes. Yeah. I'm the kind of person, and I think most people are this way, like 99 people can say something nice, but if one person says something mean, that's the only thing I remember.
It's the only thing I remember. And I like write it down and I like tell everyone about it. I'm like texting my friends.
And I like can't get over it.
Yeah.
Totally. So for me, sometimes I impulsively reply, especially if I have like a joke.
Okay.
But really, knowing my brain and how it works, I actually don't see 99% of it. I have pretty elaborate filters set up. Okay. And you know, I reply sometimes, but really most of it, I just try not to look at. And I think this is something we all are dealing with right now, or like every single, whether you have 1 million followers or 10 followers or whatever on social media, I think none of our brains are wired for this. And we're all trying to figure out how to protect ourselves and our mental health. For me, and I think this is true of a lot of people, I just have to filter it out and make sure it doesn't even get to my brain, because it can be wrong. It can be stupid. It can be obviously based in identity. It still affects me. So, you know, just being honest with myself about that is pretty important.
Yeah. I think another thing that you're known for is being a fan of teams. And I wonder how that, like you're a first pitch thrower outer at the Mariners game, a great pitch. Really glad you didn't embarrass yourself.
Very slow.
It could have been a lot
could have been worse. You're right.
It could have been in the ground.
Yeah.
But do you think that I think I ask this almost every time I talk to a sports person. Do you think being a fan of like particular teams enhances or detracts from your work?
You know, I think it is up to you, frankly, as a writer or an opinionator. You know, when I was a sports writer, I would get asked about, hey, you're openly rooting for the Seahawks. And I was like, well, I'm a futures writer. I think it would be strange for a beat reporter, someone who covers a team inside out, to be very, you know,
pro
a fan. So, you know, I didn't write about the Seahawks. And then now as an analyst, I think I'm pretty hard on them. Yeah. And I have people there have told me that. So, I think whatever job you have in media, have to be pretty, if you're choosing to be a fan. And I think there's something great in that, because listeners, readers, viewers, they're fans, and they kind of like seeing someone who cares like them to some extent. And it can create, you know, it can be extremely entertaining and funny. And there's also like schadenfreude aspects of it. Like they like, you know, but you have to be very careful about how you deploy it. And I do think sometimes you have to be a little bit harder on the teams if you're open about it.
Yeah. Do you have any opinions about people who are player fans versus team fans?
That certainly with the NBA, especially, you see a lot of that, but sometimes with the NFL too. I think it's kind of the same thing. Like, it's like, if you're...
I despise that. I think that is the worst kind of fandom.
Oh, I think you meant like a media person. Oh, no, generally.
No. I mean, generally. Like, what do you think of people who... Like, I am such a team person that when someone's like, oh, I'm a LeBron fan and I have a Cleveland and a Miami and a Laker jersey, I'm like, you're a loser. I hate
a friend
you.
who's a writer. who you should have on. His name's Derek Thompson. He's a writer for The Atlantic. And we met a long time ago when I was a business journalist. And he was like, yeah, I'm just, he was reading for the Denver. And I was like, oh, are you from Denver? He's like, no, I'm a Peyton Manning fan. I'm like, what? He was like, yeah, I went from Peyton's there now. And I'm like, who are you? Like, I don't understand.
I hate it.
It's a different kind of fandom.
I hate it. I'm like, so you have no allegiance. So this person's going to leave and then they're going to retire. And what? You're just going to find a new person to like? I hate it.
He went from Peyton to someone else. I forget who. But he actually did that.
I wonder who that would be. Who's your next in line? I feel like now it would be Joe Burrow. That is like my Peyton Manning-esque personality. He's a little chestier, but that same kind of like milquetoast white boy. But I wonder who would have been in between.
I don't remember who he was rooting for, but yeah, he's like, I'm just a fan of greatness.
I hate it. LeBron fans are my nightmare. Okay, football. So in the Stacks community, we have a Discord. We have a little sports channel. And when everything happened a few weeks ago with Damar Hamlin, there was a lot of chatter within the Stacks community about what does the NFL do? And what can they do? And is the only solution that there's no more football ever again because it's inherently dangerous? And so the question is less about Damar Hamlin because I think, that's a one-time situation that is indicative of a much bigger whole. And I'm wondering if you become commissioner tomorrow, you can do something quickly to help bring people back to football who have left. So not the people who are diehard football people, but the people who are on the fence, who've stopped maybe watching as much, who are tuning in maybe now just for the playoffs, but they feel icky about it. The Kaepernick stuff, the head trauma stuff, just, the general kind of decline of football, which is not real, but is definitely like a sentiment. It's not real, but you know what I mean? Like there's definitely this sentiment of like people don't watch football as much. Myself, like I used to watch so much football. Now I watch Niner games and like a little here and there. What's the easiest, most effective change PR move thing that you think the NFL could do to bring people back into the fold?
Well, I think there are people who have been alienated for different reasons. I think there are fans who were correctly alienated when Colin Kaepernick was blackballed as a quarterback. And unfortunately, like that ship has probably sailed in terms of doing the right thing, which is bringing him back into the NFL. And then there's kind of what you're alluding to, which is sort of the health aspect of it. And frankly, like I have to be honest, you can't make football safe. It is what it is. And, you can be more honest about it, which is something I think the NFL has obviously done a better job than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But you can't lie and say, this is safe and traumatic brain injuries aren't going to happen. I think what I would do if I was commissioner was probably pour more resources into taking care of players, lifetime health care, that sort of thing, making it easier for them to access benefits. And because that's really just the most realistic thing you can do. Yeah.
That was my solution, was like, give everybody lifetime retirement tomorrow. And I feel like people would be like, well, at least they're trying to do right by these athletes. Okay, I have one more sports question, then we're going to transition to books. But what's a sports thing, and I'll let you decide what thing means, that's still on your bucket list? Because I feel like you've gone to the Super Bowl, you've done the Olympics, you've covered all these people, you're on TV, you've written, you've podcasts. What's on your sports-related bucket list?
Well, I am a fan of the Seattle Seahawks and the Seattle Mariners and a couple college teams. But I mean, the Mariners just made it to the playoffs.
Yes.
If the Mariners actually made it to the World Series, which obviously has never happened, I would go. Drop everything. Doesn't matter. I would find a way. So I think just seeing my beloved baseball team in the World Series is probably the number one thing that I'd love to do as a sports fan. So yeah, I think that's it. Football wise, I've kind of done everything I have wanted to do. I didn't watch the Seahawks at either Super Bowls. I didn't watch in person, but I didn't really care. I wanted to watch.
Were you working?
Friends. No, I wasn't working that Super Bowl, and the one in Arizona, or pardon me, in New York, which is weird because I lived in New York. But I had a bunch of friends who I'd been watching the Seahawks with for a long time, and who couldn't have gone to the Super Bowl anyways, and it was kind of more fulfilling to me to watch with them.
Wait, I lied. I have one more sports question. How did you get into sports? Like as a young person?
It's like so many people. My dad,
Okay, same.
It's pretty. I feel like that's the usual answer, but parents.
Well, sometimes it's like a weird thing. It's like, oh, my uncle was really into the Niners, so I became a diehard Seahawks fan. I grew up in, so I wasn't sure if it was the traditional
I inherited
parents.
all of his rooting interests. Baseball,
Yeah.
basketball, college football, all of it.
What are your but not soccer, because you're Tottenham, right?
Yeah, not really. I mean, my mom and my brother love soccer, and I grew up playing soccer. I played soccer all the way through high school, but I don't follow it close enough to really like to claim fandom. But, I want them to be happy, so I kind of loosely pay attention.
And they root for Tottenham.
Yes, they're obsessed.
So I got into Premier League because my brother very into Man City.
Okay.
And during the pandemic, I went and lived with him for a little bit. And he was like, you need to watch this film about Pep Guardiola. You need to do this. And then I got so into it. And now I'm like, it's my number one football. It's taken over American football for me.
That happens to a lot of people, yeah.
It's really, I love it. I love it. I love the drama. I love the way that they all hug and kiss each other. I love them. I love them. Okay, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back. Valentine's Day is upon us and I've got love on the brain. Love for books. Duh, of course. Hello. Did you forget what podcast you're listening to? I love bringing you all great reads, exclusive author interviews, and behind the scenes book gossip. But I can only do that with your support over on Patreon and Substack. Our Stacks Patreon community, also known as the Stacks Pack, is where you can go for book club meetups, a private, very active Discord, and a year-long mega reading challenge to help you achieve all your reading goals. Plus, you also get that monthly bonus episode. Now, over on the Substack, you can subscribe to my newsletter, Unstacked, where I keep the book conversations going. I also give you a healthy dose of sports and pop culture, definitely some hot takes happening over there. And again, that bonus episode. If you don't have a few dollars to spare, don't worry. There are free options on the Substack and the Patreon to get you a little extra Stacks magic. Making this podcast is a total team effort, and by supporting my Patreon and my Substack, you allow me to support my amazing team that makes the show possible every single week. So if you or your friends are looking to meet other book lovers and support this indie podcast, come hang out with me on Patreon, Substack, or both. I would love to have you. And since we're talking about love, you can gift subscriptions to the Patreon and the Substack for that special reader in your life. For the Stacks Pack, head to patreon.com/thestacks. And for the newsletter, head to tracythomas.substack.com. And also, there are links to both in the show notes. Okay, see you in the Stacks. Okay, we're back. Now we're going to talk about books. Thank you for indulging me with all my sports questions.
No problem.
This is a book podcast, allegedly. So just for folks and for me, how did you love reading? You're a big reader. How did you get into reading? Where did your love of reading come from?
My earliest memories are reading. Like as a child, I was always the kid who begged to go to the library, who spent hours alone at the library. My mom could wield library time as a reward for me and make me do anything. I read everything I could get my hands on in the house. I read when I got to the library, we're talking, I remember reading like The Phantom Tollbooth and Boxcar Children and all those books, and then chapter books, and then all various. Yeah. My whole life have loved books and have probably found them more entertaining than anything else.
And when you were a kid, and I guess now, are there genres that you were really into or not into?
I liked everything, to be honest. I read like all the trashy kids books, like The Babysitter's Club and Sea Valley High.
That's not trashy. That is iconic literature. Thank you.
Yeah, there's one of your questions, I don't know if I want to spoil it, that is a childhood obsession of mine. That's really embarrassing.
I can't wait.
Okay, yeah. Should I wait? I mean, I'll wait.
No. Tell me.
Okay, so I really liked fantasy books as a kid too, and I loved the Dragon Riders of Pern series by Anne McCaffrey.
I don't know that.
Oh my god, it's so nerdy. It's there's many of them, and it is about people who ride dragons before Game of Thrones. Okay. And I don't think they're targeted at kids, but I read them all because there's some explicit content in there, but I read them all as a child, and I loved stuff like that so much. All of it.
Is that the answer to your favorite book as a child, or is that a different answer to a different question?
I think it was one that people might not guess.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, is it that one or is it?
So blow up his spot a little bit. My friend Zach Barron, who's a great writer for GQ, I don't know how it came up. Somehow it came up that we both read these books as a kid, and I think there's such like a unique bond in having a shared love of an obscure children's book series. I mean, again, it wasn't really for children, but coming out as like fantasy nerds who like dragon books is about as embarrassing as it can get.
But again, like you said, now with Game of Thrones, it's like cool. But I feel like probably like 5 or 10 years ago it was less cool. Like I bet people now are like, ooh, can't wait to read another dragon thing.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Maybe they should have a second life. I think I've read about TV projects that have gotten killed over the years associated with this series. But
is it similar to Game of Thrones, like
kind
old-timey world?
Yeah, a little bit. The main character is a woman. I mean, yeah, it spans saga like decades and generations, and
oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anyways, I really love those books.
I love this. Okay, before we get to the full questionnaire, I didn't prep you for this, but this is something people write in to me. They ask for a book recommendation. So I'm going to read you what they said. You got to give us at least one. I'll give a handful so you have time to think. Okay, this question is, I have to buy a book on a sports event that is based on true events that has or will be made into a TV show, movie, or documentary as a gift for a family member. This person is a huge sports fan, football, hockey, basketball, you name it, and loves to read about athletes, teams, or events. I know you, talking to me, have a passion for sports, but I'll extend that to you. So I feel like I'm in good hands. Any recommendations? So if you want to think for a second.
So specific.
Yeah, these questions
the parameters.
Get into the
so
weeds.
A sports event.
So sports event that has been turned into something you can watch that's based on a true story.
I have one, but I don't think it was based on a true story. Or if it was, I don't know, but fits the other aspects of that. Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. Have you ever read that?
No.
It's right. I'm looking at it's right in front of me, Ben Fountain. It's about a veteran who comes back and attends the Super Bowl. It's a beautiful book. It's about war and sports and the militarization of sports in America. He goes to like a Jerry World type situation.
Oh, yeah.
It's a wonderful book.
Okay.
Yeah, so that one comes to mind, but I don't know if it quite fits.
That's okay. Close enough.
Specific.
That's close enough. Okay, I'll give the ones I come up with. If you think of any more, let me know. So the first one is Unbroken by Laura Hildenbrand, which she also wrote Seabiscuit. So those both technically fit. This one was made into a movie. It's about this guy, Louis Zamperini, who was a track runner who then went to World War II. His plane was shot down. He became a prisoner of war. It's about sports, but it's also about other things. My next one is Friday Night Lights, which was a book. And it was like a really beloved book before it became this sort of teen sensation. Old millennial sensation, I should say. And then this is I haven't read this, but when I was researching this, I was like, oh, I should read this book because I loved the movie as a kid, even though it was terrifying, is Alive by Piers Paul Reed about I think the soccer team that got stuck in the Andes for 2 months or something crazy and like ate each other. So I kind of went off the beaten path with the sports situation, except for Friday Night Lights, because I thought, they probably read all the things that are like obvious, but those are my 3. Did any more come to you?
I would echo Friday Night Lights because I actually have read that book and seen the movie and watched the TV series. And
I've never seen the movie.
Okay, so this is probably the craziest thing. All 3 media are good.
Really?
The series is amazing. The movie is really good with Billy Bob Thornton, who's incredible in it. And the book is also really good. So that's a very rare thing.
Yeah.
But they're all good. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it. Okay. Well, for people at home, if you want to have book recommendations on the show, email askthestacks@thestackspodcast.com. Okay. 2 books you love, 1 book you hate.
2 books I love are Pachinko by Min-Jin Lee, who I love in every, as a person, as a human being. She's wonderful. I love a lot of her books, but that book is very important to me. Especially, there's some resonances with my own family history, and it's a book that I shared with my mom, who's from Korea and originally from North Korea. Another book, I wrote this down and I was like, I haven't said his name out loud in like 20 years, is Disgrace by J.M. Coetzee.
Yes.
Coetzee?
Yes,
like,
yes.
I was nervous about saying his name. It's
I don't know how to say his
South
last
African
name.
It's like Coetzee. Just a very important book to me. My whole life. It's a book that even thinking about it like gives me chills. And a book I hate. I was really like struggling. I'm sure I'm not the only person who has said this as an answer, but I was just trying to think books I read in high school, and The Fountainhead came to mind. And even in high school,
you read that in high school?
Yeah, we read it.
Holy shit!
Yeah, we read it in high school, and I was like, "This is dumb."
Were you in AP English or something?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say
English, yeah.
I was gonna say regulars.
It's just like, this is, I get what this is about.
No one has ever said that on the show, but I have never heard of that being assigned in school before.
Yeah, there's probably others from high school that I'm forgetting that I didn't like, but that was one that just jumped out to me.
I accept that answer. What's the last really great book you've read?
So this past year, I read way more books than I've read, I went like 3 or 4 years with like reading very little for work-related reasons. I don't know. So basically, I missed all of the like award-winning books from like 2017 to 2021. Anyways. So I finally read All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, which is a very famous and popular book, of course. But I was like, years late to it, and I think I read it in like 2 days. So it's like, oh my god, it's so.
And that's a clunker.
It's so riveting, though. You're just like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And the way it's structured with the interweaving stories is so. Just as a writer, it's like, wow, thinking about all the planning that went into that is amazing, and it's beautifully written.
When you were out of your reading practice for a few years, I had a similar thing, which is kind of how this show started, actually, is I was like, I'm going to get back into reading. And then I fell back in love with it and was like, we should be talking about books on podcast. But when you like decided to go back to reading, was there something that you changed or something that you did to get yourself back in the habit?
Not really. It was, I had like some free time coming up, and I was thinking about all of the silly things around the house and whatever. And then I was like, what if I just bought a bunch of books? So I bought like 3, and then it was a reminder of how much I loved them. So then I just bought like 6, and it kind of just happened. It was like riding a bike for me.
I love it. What are you reading right now?
So aside from the book that we're going to talk about,
we're doing The Roundhouse for people who missed the announcement. We're doing The Roundhouse by Louise Erdrich. At the end of the month. I think it's February 22nd is when the episode airs.
I could also say, we're probably going to talk about it a little bit, but The Night Watchman was the other really great book I read, which was why I was so excited to read this one. But a book that I have like a bookmark in that I like just have not finished and I need to is book 4 of the Neapolitan series by Elena Ferrante.
Yeah.
So this was, I love it, but it was like circumstantial. I was on vacation and I just zipped through like 2 and 3. I started 4 on my Kindle. And then like the football season started and I just never got back to it. So it's just sitting, it's just unfinished. And it's like, I need to finish the series. It's 4 books, but I haven't.
Do you have time to read like during football season, or are you just constantly watching football?
Not really, except for on like Fridays and Saturdays, because so much of my job is watching and preparing for shows during the week, right?
Right.
But when you get to Friday, I don't have anything to prepare for anymore. And the next batch of games is going to happen. So that's when I can get some reading done, or just like consuming other forms of like television and stuff. Yeah.
What books are on your list that you're looking forward to reading?
It's a reread for me. Everything I wrote down, I always am afraid of saying out loud. Gilead. I was cleaning my bookshelf, or just I guess organizing it, and I realized I hadn't read it in a million years, and it's such a beautiful book, and it was so meaningful to me, and I kind of pulled it out and I said, you know what, and the other thing is I was reading it and I was like, I vaguely remember this, but I've actually forgotten enough to where I would like to reread this. So
I love how many books are meaningful to you. It's making me like my heart so happy. Usually people are like so casual with the answers, like, I don't know, duh. And you're like, this book was really meaningful. And it makes me really happy because I love when books have meaning for other people. I call books that are really meaningful to me, I call them books of my life because I can never do like a favorite book, but there'll be a book that just like sat at the right part of my life and like sits in my heart in the exact right way. And I'm like, this is a book of my life. I don't know if it holds up. I haven't read it in 20 years, but it's a book of my life. How do you pick what you're going to read next? Do you have friends that recommend to you? Are you going to the New York Times? Are you listening to other people, just browsing at the bookstore?
Yeah, I use the New York Times a lot. And then when I sort of undertook the project I described, or I guess kind of decided to dive back into it, it was very easy because like the best books lists and award winners of the last like 5 years, I just hadn't read most of them, right?
Yeah.
So a book like All the Light We Cannot See, which won the Pulitzer Prize, I think, or the Booker, I was just like, oh, okay, this is obviously good. So yeah, it's a lot of that. And then some of it is recommendations from friends as well.
Do you ever, Juliet was on the show and she's a big reader. Do you ever go to her for recommendations?
No,
I feel like you
I
guys
have
have really similar book tastes.
Do we? I gotta ask her now.
Every once in a while she'll text me and be like, have you read this? And then a few of those books were on the list you first sent me of like books I read recently that I loved. And I was like, oh, I wonder if they read the same book together. What's the last really good book that someone recommended to you?
It's funny because I mentioned Zach Barron. It was his sister, Ruthie Barron, who's an editor at ProPublica, recommended a couple of books to me, one of which was a book called, I think we talked about it, maybe True Biz.
Yeah, we did on the show in December.
Yeah, which was such a fun book and such a quick read. And because I told her, I was like, I think, I don't know what I just finished, something long. And I was like, I'm looking for something I can read. And I think I read that book in like 2 days or something. Yeah. Like it just zooms by. Yeah. But it was so cool because you did it on the show, so readers know, but it was like a whole world I knew nothing about, which is so fun.
Yeah, yeah. What's a book that you like to recommend to people?
So I came up with a couple.
Yeah.
I like to recommend short story collections to people. One of which is pretty well known, and then one of which is not. So first is Jesus' Son.
Oh yeah, we did that on the show years ago in 2019.
Really special and just will stick with you for a long time. The other one is a little bit lesser known, and it's a short story collection called Charity by a writer named Mark Richard. Yeah, I've never recommended it to someone who's read it in my entire life, and I don't even know how I stumbled across it. I must have just like bought it at a used bookstore and it looked interesting, but it shares a lot of DNA as Jesus' Son, and whenever I think of the short stories, whenever they kind of come into my mind, they really stick with me.
How do you read? Audiobook, ebook, Kindle book, physical book?
Mostly hard copies, but sometimes I was reading the Neapolitan series on my Kindle, but I really use mostly hard copies.
Any ever audio or no?
Not in a really long time, because it's because I just listen to sports podcasts so much. So it would like if I'm driving or walking, I'm just more likely to listen to a podcast.
I go through phases where I'll be like, okay, I'm only doing audiobooks right now. And then I'll be like, okay, I have to catch up on all the podcasts I missed in the last like 2 weeks.
Exactly.
What's your ideal reading setup? Where are you? Time of day, snack or beverage? Set it up if you're having like your perfect reading day.
Like on a weekend morning, usually, like on a Saturday morning, definitely not at night because I'm so tired.
Yeah.
And I love reading outside. So it's really nice that I live in Los Angeles because it's mostly nice outside. Like I like beach vacations just because it means I can read books for the most part. And I like, being outdoors and reading for some reason.
Do you have reading snacks or beverages?
Not really. Although I guess I drink. My husband laughs at me so much because I just leave cans of Spindrift around our house. Okay. So I guess that's usually what I'm doing when reading.
And what's your favorite Spindrift flavor?
Oh my God. Orange mango, number 1, grapefruit, number 2.
Okay. Had that locked and loaded.
This is super off track, but I am an influencer for Spindrift.
Okay.
Because
a dream.
So I was posting about it so much for free that someone there hit me up and they were like, would you like to do a couple ads for Spindrift? And in exchange, we will send you free Spindrift. So it's been like years, and once a month, I just get a box of Spindrift.
Oh my God.
Incredible.
If Diet Coke is listening, I'm available for such a deal.
Speak it to the universe and manifest it.
Anyone at Diet Coke.
That's literally how it started. I was on Desus and Mero, their digital show, and I had a bunch of Spindrift I was drinking, and I just started talking about how much I liked it. And Mira was like, yo, Spindrift. And literally somebody saw it and got back to me. It was amazing.
Jesus and Mero, also past guests of this show before they were just two separate people. Devastating. I can't even think about it. I'm still like mourning. You're in LA. I'm in LA. What are your favorite bookstores?
I like Skylight in Los Feliz, which is where I used to live. That I really loved kind of, and Los Feliz, as you know, and people in LA know, is really walkable. So I could walk and get a meal and they'd be like, oh, we're going to go to the bookstore.
Swing by Skylight. Love Skylight.
Not an LA thing at all.
So I came from New York and I live in a different area that's sort of walkable. And during the pandemic, I put like 10 miles on my car in an entire year because I just walked everywhere. I was like, I have nowhere else to be. Like, just want to be outside, like pretending like I'm going places. But before that, I never walked. And now I'm like not walking as much anymore again. And it really is sad. Okay, this is sort of our speed round. What is the last book that made you laugh?
Okay. The Candy House is what I wrote by Jennifer Egan. There's a lot of, I mean, it's a thinker, but there's a lot of really funny stuff in there too.
Okay. Last book that made you cry?
Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John. I'm saying it right. St. John Mandel, the woman who wrote
Station 11.
Yeah. I mean, it's like pandemic stuff, so it's like a little bit like, ooh, but it's really just worth reading.
Did you read Station 11?
Yes.
And did you read The Glass Hotel, the other one?
No, I haven't.
So I guess they're all connected, but like each one is freestanding as well. I have only read Station 11. I couldn't get up the courage to do the other two, but I have them and I really want to. And I've heard
it's a
Sea of
beautiful
Tranquility
book.
is really good.
And it's not depressing. It's more just like, it takes you back to certain places. Yeah.
Well, right. Like that's what Station 11.
Yeah.
I read it before the pandemic though, Station 11, thank God. Because I don't know if I could have done it during.
Did you watch the show during the pandemic?
I did watch the show.
It was intense.
Did you watch the show?
Yeah. Yeah, I watched it, yeah.
Okay, the whole time. So I read the book in like 2018. So it had been a little bit of, it had been a few hundred books between that and when I watched the show. Yeah. And I was like, the whole time I was watching, I'm just sitting on the couch with my husband being like, my memory's failing me. But
they changed so much.
But I didn't realize that. And I was like, I don't remember this at all. And so the whole time I just was like irritated because I was like, I don't remember that. And I like just kept
That's how I felt watching Pachinko, the Apple did a version, the TV version of that. There's so many differences and I did not love the differences.
It makes you feel crazy because you're like, I don't remember that.
Yeah,
but
totally.
like, and then I'd like Google, but I didn't want to get spoiled on the show. But I also was like, that person didn't do that anyway. So I liked I thought the Station 11 was like beautiful, but I just couldn't relax into it because I was so like freaked out that I was going crazy or something.
Yeah, that when it's just like a little off too,
Yeah,
like
what?
Yeah.
There was. I mean, it ended up being really different. I don't think I actually finished. I think I stopped like 1 or 2 episodes from the end because I don't know why. You know how these things are. You just sort of move on.
Yeah,
other things come up. What's the last book that made you angry?
This was one I read last year, These Truths by Jill Lepore, which is a history of the United States, but a much more honest history of the United States. I really recommend it.
Do you read a lot of nonfiction?
No. Not at all. That's why it's kind of weird. But yeah, I don't even know why I bought it. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah. What's a book where you felt like you learned a lot?
I was thinking back to books I read when I was younger, not like child, but younger adult. And the one that came to mind for me was No Name in the Street by James Baldwin. Not just because of the historical aspects of it, but I think it was a book that, I was thinking about becoming a writer, and the way, for those who haven't read it, it's like one of the most important, you should absolutely read it. The way like he used his personal history to tell the history of so many other things was just so fascinating to me, and he's such a beautiful writer also. Obviously, like the prose is just like every sentence you could take and put on a wall somewhere, right? But I think so. I guess what I'm saying is it wasn't just like learning about history, but also like learning about how to tell a story. And I think about that a lot.
I should have asked you this way earlier. Are you going to write a book?
I don't know. Maybe people ask me sometimes, and I have some ideas, but it's also, I have so much football to watch right now. but I would love to. I do miss writing.
I would love for you to write a novel. I feel like
Thank
that
you.
would be really fun. I don't know what it would be about, but that would be really
some
cool.
zany ideas.
Oh, good. I love weird. What's a book that brings you joy?
Another short story collection, Cathedral by Raymond Carver. Especially the main story. If I'm ever really sad, I reread because it's just your heart will like burst reading it. I don't want to spoil it for anyone.
Okay, I've never read it. Now I'm
just read that one story and
okay.
and it's just like, oh my God.
It's the title story?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any books that you feel proud about having read?
Yeah. So early in my relationship with my husband, he gave me The Recognitions by William Gaddis, which is a beast. I mean, that book is long and it is weird and it has really cool ideas, but it is not an easy read. And I like to tell him, like, that's how he knew, he should have known how committed I was to our relationship, that I actually read that fucking book. It's a real hipster book. It's like, it's not an easy read.
That's so funny. I feel like that's a story that turns out the opposite way when the book that's given is like Infinite Jest. I feel like I've heard that story of like, this guy gave me Infinite Jest to read and I was like, fuck you, it's over. But I'm glad that this worked out for you guys. This is much better. Happy ending.
I don't really recommend it. It's good though. I don't know.
Did you give him anything to read?
Yeah. I remember I gave him another, I think we were just trying to impress each other. Emilio's Carnival by Italo Svevo, which is another really hipster, weird book. I remember giving that to him earlier.
And did he read it?
Yeah. He loves reading. Yeah. Okay. He has a weirder taste than me. And
do you all like sit around the home and read together?
Not really. Sometimes now that I've been reading a little bit more, but I like fun books a lot more than him.
Yeah. Okay. I love this idea of you guys exchanging hipster books to impress each other and fall in love through reading. What's a book that you're embarrassed that you've still never read?
Oh, but this is very specific reason for being embarrassed. I'm looking. So I do a lot of television from home, which started during the pandemic, and now it's just something we do. And we have a backdrop with books behind me. And one of them that's in my backdrop I've actually never read, which I feel like is a lie, but it's 2666 by Roberto Bolaño. I've never read it, but that's a
big clunker.
I just needed to like fill space, and I was like frantically, and literally, I have rarely changed these books. All of them except for that I've read. I'm looking at them right now, but it's right there.
I love that it's like the Easter egg. Like, do you know Mina? She's not read one book. Which one? So you told us. Oh, what's a book that you wish more people knew about?
I'm going to go with a writer. Alexander Heyman is one of my favorite writers. He wrote books called Nowhere Man, The Lazarus Project, and Love and Obstacles. I love all of them. He's a Bosnian writer. Weirdly, he wrote The New Matrix, which was not good, but he was one of the writers on it.
Interesting.
But don't let that detract you because they are gorgeous books and they are about a lot of themes in terms of like expatriation and homeland, and they're stories about humanity, and they're just all three of those books are wonderful.
Mina, your taste is so ranging. I'm obsessed. I love this. It's like from true biz to Bosnian writer. This is beautiful. What book is your problematic fave?
Okay. Maybe Lolita?
Sure.
Right?
That's definitely problematic. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I also people hate Jonathan Franzen, and every time I read an interview with him, I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. But I do like his books.
Okay, but did you read Freedom?
That one I didn't like as much. That's the one where the family goes to like South America, or the
cover is like a bird and it's like a sunset.
That one wasn't that great, but the corrections is good.
I didn't read the corrections.
It's good, but he does seem very, very douchey.
He seems horrible.
Yeah, every time I read an interview with him, I'm like, oh god.
I read Freedom similarly to you when I first started dating my husband, but he did not give it to me. But there's so many pictures of like the beginning of our relationship where I'm like in his dorm room like reading the book, but it's like spans like 3 months, and I'm like, I really struggled to get through that book, I guess, because it's in every picture of like the first 3 months of our relationship.
It wasn't great. Yeah,
I don't remember a single thing because because it took so long and I obviously hated it. Do you have a favorite book assigned in school? That was assigned in school?
I was just talking about this the other day with a friend of mine. The Wretched of the Earth was a really pivotal book for me in college by Fanon. That was assigned to me early in college and completely changed the course of my academic career. Came into college I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something with reading or writing, and then that book made me want to write about but maybe I ended up focusing on post-colonial literature in large part because of reading that book.
Wow.
It is a real eye-opener. It's incredibly written. That was my freshman year of college, I think, is when I read that.
And you went to Yale?
Yeah.
Should have known, because that AP English, that Fountainhead, only
that 5,
the smart,
you know.
Yeah. What's a favorite book about where you're from?
So I'm from everywhere, which makes this a little bit complicated. My dad was in the military.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go to another Min Jin Lee book. It's not really like where I'm from because it takes place in New York. I'm not from New York, but Min wrote another book called Free Food for Millionaires. I don't know that one. That's about a young Korean American woman that really it's kind of about being from like a blue collar background and going to an Ivy League school and dealing with Koreanness and that book, which I read last year for the first time, even though it came out a while ago, I was like, whoa, the resonances with where I'm from as a person are pretty intense.
Right. If you were a high school teacher, what's a book you would assign to your students?
I'm going to go with another Korean author and pick Native Speaker by Chang Rae Lee. I mean, everything Chang Rae Lee, but like that book is not only
like
is it
his memoir-y one, right? That's like his first one.
It's gosh, I don't want to spoil it for people. It's I don't know what his first book is actually.
I feel like it's one of his early.
Yeah,
books.
it is earlier.
Yeah,
and he's so prolific. It's it's a book. It's a work of fiction. It's very riveting because it's like a little bit of there's like a mystery aspect to it, but it also has really important things to say about the Asian American experience that I think it's important for high schoolers to read.
Is there any book that influenced you, like in your professional career?
Yeah, not with sports, but when I was thinking about journalism and what I wanted to do, I read a bunch of Michael Lewis books. He's got a sports book. Moneyball, right? That's true. But for me, it was like Liar's Poker. And Barbarians of the Gate is another business book that I recommend to literally everyone. It's by a couple of really amazing writers, and it's like a real page turner,
right?
But both of those books made me think, wow, like money's really interesting, and like also power and corruption, and it really made me fascinated with the idea of business journalism, I guess, and covering those types of people.
And he's an interesting one because he not only tells interesting stories, but he makes them interesting. Because if you had told me that I was going to care about The Big Short or whatever, like I would have been like 0% chance. I don't know numbers. I don't care. I don't get it. You're wrong. And I was like, this is fascinating.
Yeah. Well, just the idea of like making narratives out of these things, was something that I had to learn how to do early when I was writing about business.
Yeah. And whoever wrote into Ask the Stacks, Moneyball would also be a book that would fit your request. Just FYI.
That actually has a lot of parallels with my life right now.
With your life. Who would you want to write the book of your life if it's not you?
Yeah. Zadie Smith is my pick for this. One of my favorite writers. And one thing I love about her writing, aside the prose is excellent, but it's also really self-aware and funny, I guess. And I guess I would want someone writing about me to have that kind of light touch.
Yeah. Yeah. What's a book that you've read that you'd love to see turned into a movie or TV show or something?
Well, shoot, Free Food for Millionaires would be a great, and maybe it is going to be one. Another book, though, that I read this last year that the whole time I was reading, I was like, this would be such a good movie. Actually, I think it might be for young adults. I don't know if it is, maybe not, but it's called Migrations by, I think Charlotte McConaughey is the woman's name who wrote it. It's about a woman who is trying to basically hitchhike her way onto a fishing ship to track the paths of these birds escaping from the Arctic because of climate. It's about climate change, but it's really about it's like a love story and a tragedy and a mystery. It's just so cinematic that the whole time I was thinking, oh God, this would be such a good movie.
I love that. Okay, last one. I stole it from the New York Times. If you could require the president to read one book, what would it be?
This might be like a little bit on the nose, but I was just reading one of the many articles right now about all of the books that are like being banned across America or being taken out of libraries. And it's so horrifying to read the list because so many of them are books that have meant so much to me and taught me so much growing up. It's like not just it's like classic. So you could choose literally any of those. The one though that I keep seeing on lists is The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, which is a book that, frankly, every man alive should read.
Should be reading.
Yeah. But it was just like bone chilling to me to see that on these lists because of the not only beautifully written it is, but the things it has to say about race and gender and sexual. It's just a really important book. So
yeah. A classic. The fucking book banning is. We did a whole series on it last year on the show. I talked to like a bunch of different like librarians, teachers, authors, whatever. And this year I'm like, I don't want to do it again. I don't want to fucking do this again. Stop banning the books, you assholes. Just cut it out.
It's just books I read, and that's what's so strange. It's, you open these lists and you expect to see things you've never heard of, and maybe like things that are like, I don't know, like avant-garde or whatever, edgy or whatever. But I'm like,
no,
these are on my high school reading list. Like, what is happening? It's like,
and so many
surreal.
of the books that I didn't know were books that were like, this is what a period is. Like, there's so many books that are instructional books that they're trying to ban. Like, this is a period, or like my body going through puberty. And I think about kids whose parents whose parents agree with the book banning, who aren't going to be able to get it from anywhere else. And it's like their last possible spot is like the school library. And it's like, you're banning, or like books. They have a lot of books that are translated. So it'll be like a book that's in English, but like the Spanish translation, or a book like, it's like so deeply fucked. And a lot of the books that get the buzz are the books that we all know and love. But there's so many, there's like a book about Ruby Bridges. It's like, this is fucking a story about a kid. Like, this just happened. Like, there's no agenda here. This is just like, who is Ruby Bridges? Like, it's fucking crazy.
It's really heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's devastating. So stop banning books. Thanks. Mina, thank you so much. This was so fun. What a shitty way to end the episode.
I should have ended with the Dragon Riders of Pern. That would have sent us out on a high note.
Another book we're going to try to adapt into the screen. Mina will be the executive producer. I can't wait for you to be nominated for an Emmy and a Golden Globe. And I'll be like, I was there when she got the idea. Mina will be back at the end of the month on February 22nd to talk about The Roundhouse by Louise Erdrich, which is her National Book Award winning novel. Not to be confused with her Pulitzer Prize winning novel and all of her other award winning novels. And I've never read her before, so I'm really excited.
I'm excited.
Really
for
excited. Thank you so much, Mina.
Thanks for having me.
And we will see you in the stacks. All right, that does it for us today. Thank you all so much for listening, and thank you to Mina for being my guest. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to David Dennis Jr. for helping connect Mina to the stacks. Reminder, our February book club selection is The Roundhouse by Louise Erdrich. Mina will return on February 22nd for that discussion. If you love the show and want inside access to it, head to patreon.com/thestacks and join the Stacks Pack. Make sure you're subscribed to the Stacks wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you're listening through Apple Podcasts, be sure to leave a rating and a review. For more from The Stacks, follow us on social media at The Stacks Pod on Instagram and at The Stacks Pod _ on Twitter. And check out our website, thestackspodcast.com. This episode of The Stacks was edited by Christian Duenas with production assistance from Lauren Tyree. Our graphic designer is Robin McCrite, and our theme music is from Tagirajis. The Stacks is created and produced by me, Tracy Thomas.